of Quality Assessment and Accreditation. So I welcome him on behalf of the MGM University, and I request him to be associated as a guiding force for our Mahatma Gandhi Mission University, MGM University. The another guest of international importance today, international repute, is Bikash Sharma, Dr. Bikash Sharma. And I'm very happy to inform all of you that recently, in few days back only, he got US President's Award for his services, and that medal he got. And I congratulate on behalf of our university to Bikash Sharma sir, who is leading the International Academics and Management Association. So his organization is working in 33 countries in the world, and he is providing all academic services, collaborations, joint degree programs, twin programs, and he is helping universities in India and abroad to collaborate together, do the research together, do the academics together, and develop an academic global culture in the world. And that is his work and contribution. And in appreciation of that contribution, the US President has given him President Awards for his services into the education sector. So welcome Bikash Sharma sir, on behalf of the MGM University. I welcome you, and we would like to remain in our association for a long time, decades to come, and we'll be working together under your guidelines of both the top experts. So I think that let us begin our session as I will request Bikash sir to coordinate that.
Thank you very much, Professor Sudhir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank MGM University and Professor Sudhir in particular for inviting us to speak with all of you at on this platform. Basically, the way we will proceed is that initially I will be talking more about the current scenario and the opportunity that it presents for all of us in the education sector, which will be followed with Dr. Maurice Dimoc's session, which will be on the student mobility as well as international accreditation, its importance, and about ASIC, how ASIC actually can help a university move ahead, as well as the ASIC quality standards. I'm sure that during the course of the session, you may have a lot of questions. I would request all of you to park your questions, and at the end of the session, we can have all the questions and answers, questions being answered. Also, a request: please mute your mics so that we do not have any interruption in between. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the last couple of days, there's been a lot of talk around the Wuhan virus, which we also know as the COVID-19. And definitely, people end up saying that it has impacted their lifestyle, it's impacted the way they work, impacted the economy, and a lot of things around it. So while uncertainty is the word of the day, this uncertainty has also opened up interesting opportunities for all of us, especially in the education sector. So before talking about the opportunities, I would like to emphasize upon 2 points, because this becomes very important from the education sector, especially in India, wherein a lot of people in the education fraternity have been jittery about the future. So let's understand 2 things. Ideally, the impact on the education sector in India will be minimal, for the simple reason that in India, most of the institutions, they have a single academic session. So probably your academic session gets extended by a month or 2, but then overall the session will not get impacted as such. The second factor that I talk about is the fact that this year you are likely to see more students joining your university than what happens regularly. Simple reason being that a lot of students who were due to travel this year for international education, they have ended up postponing the plans. So I think it's almost 40% of the students, as per data available, that who have actually postponed their plans. Uh, at the same time, definitely we need to devise strategies to attract these students into our system, which I will discuss briefly during the course of my session. Another point that I will also take up is that probably the question comes that while we end up getting more domestic students in a para, we may end up losing on international students who actually come down to our university every year. So I will also be sharing a couple of points wherein we can actually not only retain those students, but actually end up getting more students than usual. So while coming to the opportunities, the first thing that I would like to talk about is online education. I think we were briefly discussing about it prior to the start of this session. Uh, Online education in India has never received its due, unlike the West, where online education is very much accepted, except for the last couple of months when we have actually started looking at towards it. Although as of now, when we talk about online education, the only thing that we talk about is a Google classroom, or maybe we are talking about Google Meet using Zoom to conduct classes. But when I talk about online education, I'm talking about the next level, which we are likely to get into very soon, which is basically using artificial intelligence.
डिवाइस ऑडिओ म्हणजे खाली कुठे आहे का मी बघायला लागले.
I'm talking. I think there's somebody in between who's talking. Can you please mute your mic? I'm talking about things like artificial intelligence. I'm talking about usage of augmented reality, using usage of 3D and 4D imaging to conduct classes. So what I'm talking about is extensive usage of technology. Now, while I talk about this, I will go back to my previous point where I was talking about international students. Definitely this year, probably you'll have lesser students traveling down to India to study. But at the same time, if you are using online education as a means probably you will be able to retain these students, and probably not only retain these students, but you can also go beyond your existing set of countries from where you recruit, and probably move to newer domains. Important, however, is how you market yourself, how you present yourself, and how people are able to identify you. Definitely, international accreditation is one of the ways where you can actually create a brand for yourself. I will not talk about it because I have Dr. Morris to discuss that. Yeah. The second point that I would like to talk about is the importance of collaborations and dual degree programs. As I said, a lot of students this year have decided to postpone their travel for their overseas studies. Now, so they will be actually joining local universities. But when they are coming to you, there are two ways to attract them, right? The first thing is that if you are able to offer them something different, when I say something different, I'll talk about two things. One, probably offering them a dual degree with a degree coming from your university and an additional top-up degree coming from a foreign university. So he studies locally, he ends up getting a foreign degree as well. That is one of the ways. The second is basically an example I'll share with you of a university I recently spoke to. They are based in Punjab. And in fact, they had almost doubled their intake this year. What they did was they broke down for example, when we talk about the undergrad program, they actually broke it down into three parts. So you have a diploma, advanced diploma, and then a graduation. Giving the student to actually move out at any point of time. So after a year or two, whenever he wants, he could actually move out of the program. Now, it's just not about moving out of the program, but we are talking about you entering into collaborations with universities across the globe, wherein you give the student an option. You study first year here, and beyond that, if you wish to continue, you continue here, or you can join one of our partner universities. So this way, actually, the student knows that, okay, he's not stuck here for 3 years, and he has an option to actually switch whenever he wants to. The other advantage, when I talk about collaboration, people generally talk about collaborations in-house. I'm talking about you collaborating with universities and colleges in your feeder countries. When I say feeder countries, there are countries from where you get students every year. Why not collaborate with institutions out there wherein you could actually conduct a semester or two locally, and then have these students come to you under a credit transfer policy, Uh, this becomes important at a lot of countries. For example, if you talk about a country like Nepal, Nepal does not have a very strong culture of online studies. So if I were to tell a student you study online and then
याच्यात हे करा सर.
so a lot of students do not actually have are open to it. Even the parents are not very open to it because they feel that a student needs to go to the ward actually needs to go to a college to study. So this is another way that you can actually retain your students and get them in the future. Probably yes, you will be sharing your profit, but it's worth it rather than losing on it. The next point that I would like to talk about, which again becomes very, very important in the current perspective, is that we need to start focusing on blended and flexible lifelong learning. See, things are changing, technology is changing, the emphasis upon the kind of courses that you need are changing. So we need to actually develop a system wherein we actually parallelly, when you're running a regular university, along with it, we should actually start looking at running something like a subscription or a pay-as-you-go university. So for example, if I need to upskill myself, I don't need to wait for a session to start. Anytime I log in, I pay, I upskill myself, and I exit. It's similar to what we were talking about, the Coursera or edX thing. Right now, you have students actually getting into that. Why don't you actually start delivering programs on the same platform, similar platform? Another thing which is very, very closely associated to this same thing is the demand that will be changing in the coming time. One is a lot of focus on technical education. Technology keeps changing, and now with the changing times everywhere, wherein we talk about production, we talk about manufacturing, we talk about the service sector. Everywhere the need for technology is coming up. So definitely, we'll have to start emphasizing more on technology-driven courses. The second important thing is again vocational courses. And when I talk about technical and vocational courses, I'm not talking about the 3-year and 4-year programs. I'm talking about short-term courses. I'm talking about the emphasis on masterclass. Probably you have to start working on developing models for running short-term courses at your campus and organizing a specialized masterclass for executives from the industry who can actually come in, upgrade themselves, and then move out. Another thing that I would like to talk about is something which may not happen as early as tomorrow, but definitely that's something I would call it as a work in progress. I do feel that it's time that we start looking at at something called personalized learning. With big data coming into the picture, with artificial intelligence coming into the picture, I think we will gradually move away from the current scenario of one size fits all kind of an education system that we currently have. Probably with big data and artificial intelligence, we will start looking at a scenario wherein we will be able to judge an individual by on the basis of his learning ability and actually end up offering him subjects and offering him courses and training, etc., based on his ability to grasp and take it up. One more point that I would like to talk about is which is again very, very interesting, is interdisciplinary learning. Students today are a different lot. They're a restless lot. They're not keen to be bound by things. They look at exploring different subjects, different opportunities. So why should they end up learning get into a specialized field? So if I'm a science student, probably I may go in for science, but at the same time, I may be having some interest in subjects in art. So why should I not have an access to it? That is something that we need to start talking about. Interestingly, there is a university in your own state of Maharashtra, which actually started this last year. I'm talking about Dr. Homi Bhabha State University, which offers multidisciplinary access to the students. Another thing which is very interesting, I think that as a university, we also should start looking at it. What we are talking about, we talk about the opportunity and the future. Another final point that I talk about is not from a student perspective, but from a university perspective. I'm talking about the concept of sharing university. When I say a sharing university, see, already we have situations wherein we have seen a lot of cool campus drives happening from a placement perspective. I think in the long run, we will start looking at something which is more like combining activities like student services, admissions between universities, wherein they could combine things. and then focus on their core, which is academics, on research, etc. While these are the services which are combined, probably they may not be able to work together as such, but then they can actually work through a third-party agency like us, which we are already doing it. I think these are a couple of points that I wanted to focus upon right now. Now I'd request Dr. Morris to take over and actually start talking about the accreditation part of things. Thank you.